Today, we're making your Spanish sound smoother, more natural, and much more conversational when you give opinions, agree a little, disagree politely, and explain why. Not debate club dramatic, not angry comment section Spanish, just real, everyday conversation. The kind of Spanish you can use when talking about food, movies, work, plans, and whether going out tonight is a brilliant idea or a terrible idea disguised as fun. The big idea is this. In natural Spanish, you usually do not throw out isolated opinions like little bricks. You connect them, you soften them, you support them. So instead of sounding like opinion stop, you start sounding fluid. Que, pienso que, pero, sin embargo, además, por eso. These are your conversation bridges. Let's start with the most useful opinion starters. Que means I think that, or I believe that. Pienso que also means I think. In many daily situations, they're very similar. Que often feels a bit more instinctive, a bit more personal. Pienso que can feel a little more reflective, more like after thinking about it. But in normal conversation, both are extremely common. So if you want to say, I think it's a good idea, in Spanish you say, creo que es una buena idea. Nice and natural. How do you say, I think it's a good idea, in Spanish? Creo que es una buena idea. Creo que es una buena idea. Good. Now let's make that useful in real life. Creo que este restaurante es muy bueno. I think this restaurant is very good. Pienso que la película es demasiado larga. I think the movie is too long. Creo que necesitamos más tiempo. I think we need more time. Quick memory tip. If you learn just one chunk, learn creo que. Treat it like one piece, almost like a Lego block. Don't build from single words every time. Just grab the chunk, creo que, then add your idea. And here's a tiny side note that helps a lot. After creo que or pienso que, you'll very often use a full statement. Creo que es útil. Pienso que va a llover. Creo que tenemos razón. Keep moving forward after que. Don't stop the train there. Now, agreeing. The easiest natural phrase is estoy de acuerdo. I agree. Very useful. But in real conversation, people often agree partially, not 100%. That's where Spanish gets fun, because you can sound flexible instead of robotic. Try this. Estoy de acuerdo, pero. I agree, but. That little pero is gold. It lets you agree and then add nuance. How do you say I agree, but not completely, in Spanish? Estoy de acuerdo, pero no del todo. Estoy de acuerdo, pero no del todo. No del todo means not completely, not entirely. Very handy. For example, estoy de acuerdo, pero no del todo. Creo que la idea es buena, pero es un poco cara. I agree, but not completely. I think the idea is good, but it's a little expensive. Notice how natural that sounds. You are not just reacting, you're building an opinion. Another nice softening phrase is puede ser, maybe, or that could be. If someone says, esta serie es la mejor del año, that series is the best of the year, you could say, puede ser, pero prefiero la otra. Maybe, but I prefer the other one. Not aggressive, not flat, just smooth. Now let's move into disagreement. At B2 level, the goal is not only to disagree, but to sound human while doing it. A very useful phrase is, no creo que. I don't think that. This is softer than saying that something is simply false or wrong. No creo que eso sea verdad. No creo que eso sea verdad. That sentence is especially useful because it's natural, polite, and strong enough without sounding rude. Also, one important pattern to notice, after no creo que, Spanish often uses a different verb form, like sea, in eso sea verdad. You do not need to panic and write a grammar thesis about it. Just remember the chunk. No creo que eso sea verdad. Learn it whole. Your brain loves patterns more than lectures. Another disagreement phrase you'll hear all the time is no estoy de acuerdo. I don't agree. Very direct, very clear. You can soften it with un poco, del todo, or with a reason. For example, no estoy de acuerdo. Creo que depende de la situación. I don't agree. I think it depends on the situation. And that phrase, depende de la situación, is fantastic. It saves you when you don't want to sound absolute. Now let's connect ideas, because this is where conversation becomes fluid. Here are today's superstar connectors. Sin embargo means however. It sounds a little more polished than pero. Pero is the jeans and sneakers version. Sin embargo is the nice jacket version. Both are useful. Example, me gusta trabajar desde casa. Sin embargo, a veces necesito ver a otras personas. I like working from home. However, sometimes I need to see other people. Además means besides, in addition, what's more. It lets you add another reason. Example, este café me gusta. Además, está cerca de casa. I like this cafe. Besides, it's close to home. How do you say, besides it's cheaper, in Spanish? Además, es más barato. Además, es más barato. Perfecto. And por eso means that's why, for that reason. It's super common in spoken Spanish, and it helps your opinion sound complete. Instead of giving a random preference, you give the logic behind it. How do you say, that's why I prefer to stay home in Spanish? Por eso prefiero quedarme en casa. Por eso prefiero quedarme en casa. Nice. Quedarme means to stay, literally to stay myself, and in everyday Spanish it's extremely common. Quedarme en casa, stay home. Quedarme aquí, stay here. Just think of it as the normal phrase you use for staying somewhere. Let's put these pieces together in a very real-life topic, going out versus staying in. Listen to this. Creo que salir hoy es buena idea, pero depende del plan. Además, mañana trabajo temprano. Por eso prefiero quedarme en casa. I think going out today is a good idea, but it depends on the plan. Besides, I work early tomorrow. That's why I prefer to stay home. See how that flows? Opinion, contrast, extra reason, conclusion. How do you say, however I understand your point, in Spanish? Sin embargo, entiendo tu punto. Sin embargo, entiendo tu punto. That one is excellent in conversation. Entiendo tu punto. I understand your point is one of the best tools for sounding calm and thoughtful. How do you say, I think it depends on the situation, in Spanish? Creo que depende de la situación. Creo que depende de la situación. Great. That phrase works for almost everything. Remote work, pineapple on pizza, whether mornings are real, whether exercise is fun, all the important philosophical issues. Now, let's talk about common mistakes. First mistake, using only pero for everything. Pero is great, use it, love it. But if every opinion is sentence 1 plus pero plus sentence 2, your Spanish can sound repetitive. Add sin embargo, además, por eso. They create rhythm. Second mistake, saying opinions too bluntly. English speakers sometimes say things like eso no es verdad or estás equivocado too quickly. Those can be okay in the right moment, but often they sound strong. Softer options are no creo que, no estoy muy de acuerdo, puede ser, pero, or entiendo tu punto, pero. Third mistake, forgetting to give a reason. In conversation, a reason makes you sound more natural immediately. Compare these two. No me gusta, fine. No me gusta porque es muy caro, better. No me gusta, además el servicio es lento, even better. You sound alive, awake, and involved. Fourth mistake, translating word for word from English. For example, learners sometimes try to force I am agree. In Spanish, it's estoy de acuerdo. Literally, I am of agreement. Just learn the chunk. Again, chunks are your friends. Let's build a few mini dialogues together. Someone says, vivir en el centro es mejor. Living downtown is better. You could answer, puede ser, pero es más caro. Maybe, but it's more expensive. Or, estoy de acuerdo en parte. Además, hay mucho ruido. I agree in part. Besides, there's a lot of noise. That phrase, en parte, in part, is another nice way to show partial agreement. Someone says, trabajar desde casa es perfecto. Working from home is perfect. You might say, creo que tiene ventajas. Sin embargo, a veces es difícil concentrarse. I think it has advantages. However, sometimes it's hard to concentrate. By the way, ventajas means advantages, and desventajas means disadvantages. Those are useful when discussing options without sounding too emotional. How do you say, I agree in part, in Spanish? Estoy de acuerdo en parte. Creo que este restaurante es demasiado caro. Creo que este restaurante es demasiado caro. Creo que este restaurante es demasiado caro. How do you say besides the service is slow in Spanish? Además, el servicio es lento. Además, el servicio es lento. How do you say that's why I don't want to go in Spanish? Por eso no quiero ir. Por eso no quiero ir. Very good. One more subtle tip. If you want to sound natural, don't always aim for the strongest opinion. Native speakers often leave a little space. Expressions like creo que, me parece que, puede ser, en parte depende, give your Spanish flexibility. That flexibility sounds confident, not weak. It shows you can think, not just react. And one more tiny side note. Me parece que means it seems to me that or I think that. It's another very common opinion phrase. Slightly softer, sometimes a little more elegant. For example, me parece que tienes razón. I think you're right. Useful, friendly, and smooth. So let's wrap it up. Today's key idea is not just how to have an opinion in Spanish, but how to connect that opinion naturally. Use creo que or pienso que to start. Use estoy de acuerdo en parte, or no estoy de acuerdo to react. Use sin embargo and pero to contrast. Use además to add another reason. Use por eso to give the result or conclusion. If you remember one mini sequence, remember this. Creo que, sin embargo, además, por eso. It's like a little roadmap for sounding fluid. And if you make mistakes, that's completely fine. Real conversation is messy even in your native language. The goal is not perfection. The goal is flow, clarity, and confidence. And today you practiced exactly that. So next time someone asks your opinion in Spanish, don't just throw out one sentence and run away emotionally. Build it, connect it, make it breathe. Creo que puedes hacerlo. I think you can do it. And honestly, además, lo estás haciendo muy bien. Besides, you're doing really well.